Before this video starts, I want to give some credit to my friend Nick for playing with me, and credit to Toby Fox for the song Save the World, and NEP for the Forsaken gameplay you see in the background. If you didn't know already, the Forsaken devs are planning a rework for 1x. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the rework, explaining the good and bad parts of the rework, how to play against him, and how to play with him. Now, let's get into the video. Firstly, let's review the actual rework. Let's start with the base stats. First, the walk speed increases, and now projectiles will highlight players for 12 seconds. These seem like small changes, but I think they go well with the new playstyle. Secondly, the changes to Mass Infection. Mass Infection now gives speed after it's used, and you are able to move immediately after the projectile is released, meaning no end lag. There were also some basic upgrades to the projectile speed and hitbox size being increased to quite a decent amount. To balance these changes, it does less range damage and also less close range damage. There are also some minor changes like not being able to kill your own minions and giving the correct status effect. It is also no longer blockable up close. Next, the changes to Entanglement. For the base stats, it now does some extra damage and has less of a cooldown. But the most important thing about Entanglement that has changed is that there is no longer the pop-up minigame, and instead is a flat 1 second stun and pulls you towards 1x. The devs also removed the speed from escaping and the speed from hitting Entanglement. It now gives glitched, and you can slightly move while casting it. Thirdly, Unstable Eye. This move's effects haven't changed as much, but are in my opinion pretty fun. You now get speed 2 for 1.25 seconds instead of speed 1 for 5 seconds. The blindness and aura reveal duration have been increased to 8 seconds. Player highlights now change color depending on the player's health. His minion ability has also been changed, making the minions have lower sight and aggro ranges, have 25 HP instead of 5, apply effects instead of do damage, and the cooldown is now reduced to 30 seconds, but minions can now only be summoned once per corpse. For the final change, Glitched now has extra effects, enhancing your other moves. These include extra pull from Entanglement, allowing minions to kill players, and Mass Infection doing extra damage. And also another minor update to Guest, they made his punch now do 25 damage so it can kill minions. Please note that these are all subject to change, and he's definitely going to get some balancing and extra changes in the future and before release. Now, I'll give my opinions on the update, starting with the positives. I really like the direction they're going with 1x's design, as the initial playstyle was spam projectiles through walls, which I really hated. Now, you are rewarded for almost like a combo factor, as your moves apply glitched, enhancing your other moves. It's quite the cool idea, and I personally like it more than the original playstyle. He also doesn't stop while casting most of his moves, which is a pretty needed feature, as it made him very vulnerable to stuns both during startup and end lag. One of my favorite things about this rework is that they finally balance Entanglement for all devices. Before, the minigame was super easy on mobile and console, while a little more time-consuming on PC. By making it a constant 1 second stun, and a new pull mechanic, it makes it balanced for all devices, which has been one of my complaints for a long time. And although this is a great rework, I have some critiques for them. Because of the increased travel speed and hitbox, Mass Infection almost seems undodgeable, especially if the user is very skilled. 1x is a projectile killer, and I think that players should be rewarded for good aim, instead of just getting the damage handed to them. Not being able to kill your minions with Mass Infection seems good, as you're not forced to play around your minions to keep pressure, but I personally don't like this change, since if Entanglement is on cooldown, you can't kill your minions from far away for speed, which I think is a more creative play that players should be rewarded for. I also think that Entanglement doing 15 damage is a little much. I think it should be lowered back down to either 10 or lower with extra damage when target is glitched. I also think that they did nothing to nerf how good he is during Last Man Standing, and if anything, they buffed his minions, making him even better. His minions practically secure the entire map for 1x, as survivors are forced to sprint since they chase faster than a survivor walks. If they try to kill minions chasing them, it is either risky during chase and even out of chase. An observant 1x can find out where you are solely by the destruction of minions. I feel like they are the problem, making 1x unbalanced during LMS. As I mentioned previously, 1x's rework is supposed to be used more as a combo/snowball killer instead of the previous projectile spam playstyle. Don't be afraid to summon your minions mid-game and try to keep survivors applied with glitched to amplify your other moves. Quite simple. And to play against him, you need good teamwork, as the best way to counter 1x's snowball playstyle is either to stop his roll or not let him charge up at all. Try to protect your teammates and chase until their glitch effect runs out, and constantly annoy the 1x so that they are distracted from the survivor that they need to focus on. Sentinels also have a cool tech where you can use your stun right as an entanglement hits you, pulling you close to 1x and allowing you to hit your stun. The devs really seem like they hate guessed. Mass Affection is no longer blockable up close, entanglement steals the survivors right from protection, and minions no longer die to charge. But if you know anything about guest mains, it's that we never give up. And it's no whimsied video without a montage.